phone was distracting me from my work. I wasn't expecting any message, especially not from mine. We hadn't talked much since our wedding. I tapped on my text, a short message that made me pause. One text, can you please buy pants on your way back? I stared at a screen, the directness of the request catching me off guard. Pants, did she really ask me to buy them? The old me would have ignored this, but something made me reply. Taehyung, I'm working. One text. I understand, I don't have any left. Sorry if it's inconvenient. She apologized as usual. I could almost picture her biting her lip nervously, regretting that she even asked. I sighed, thinking about how awkward she must feel. Without another word, I set my phone down and focused back on work. Yet her message lingered minutes past. I couldn't shake it off. Finally left the office, heading to nearest stores. The fluorescent lights were way too bright, and I felt out of place here. I looked around, wondering how anyone could find what they were looking for in this maze. After a few minutes of wandering, I spotted a aisle. My eyes scanned the shelves, each product labeled with strange foreign words that meant nothing to me. I felt ridiculous. Store employed. Do you need help, sir? The uncle went fine. I'm annoyed. The employee raised an eyebrow but walked away. Finally grabbed a random bike and went to pay, pretending like I knew what I was doing. By the time I got out, I couldn't wait to get home and drop this off. I arrived home hoping to go unnoticed, but as soon as I stepped inside, my mother's voice called me out. Taehyung, you are back early. Here's something came up. I tried to hide a bag behind me, but she noticed it. What did you buy? Nothing, just something for one. She raised an eyebrow, looking surprised and a bit skeptical, but I walked past her before she could pray. I knocked on her door lightly and she opened it, surprised to see me. Her eyes widened when she noticed the bag in my hand. Oh my god, you really bought it? She took the bag slowly, her cheeks flushing a bit. I noticed she looked at me with a mixture of relief and something else I couldn't place. I cleared my throat, feeling a little uncomfortable. Thank you, Taehyung. It's not a big deal, shrugging. She glanced down, playing with the bag nervously. The silence between us was thick and I almost turned to leave. Before she spoke up, I hadn't expected her to actually do it. I thought you might ignore the message. I don't ignore things. Even I was sad. I felt a pang of guilt. I had ignored her plenty since our marriage, hadn't I? She gave me a small grateful smile and it threw me off. I couldn't remember the last time someone had smiled at me like that. Later that evening in dining room, everyone sat down the table for dinner. Mrs. Kim was her usual sharp self, always monitoring our interactions. One, you look pale today. Are you not feeling well? I'm fine, thank you. I looked over at her. She did look tired, yet she kept quiet, probably not wanting to draw attention. I focused on my food, but I kept noticing the small things, the way she carefully arranged her plate, how she ate slowly, like she didn't have much appetite. My mother gazed quicker toward me, probably noticing my tongue. Since when are you so interested in watching one eat? I'm not just thinking about work. When I started toward me, briefly and I sensed a discomfort. As dinner continued, I sat silent, but I found myself paying attention to her, every small detail. I was lying on my bed, staring at the ceiling, her message bad in my mind. The way she had trusted me in something so simple yet intimate. It was strange. I had been cool with her, kept my distance, and yet she was relying on me for something so personal. I didn't know how to feel about it. A knock on my door pulled me out of my thoughts. One staffing holding the same bag I had given her. I wanted to say thank you again. I already heard your thanks. Why are you here? I just thought you. Never mind. She started to leave, but I felt and felt my frustration bubble up. Why did she always leave so quickly before I realized that I spoke? Why did you even ask me for it? She turned her back, looking surprised at my question. Because I didn't know who else to ask, and you are my husband. Then the word husband struck a nerve. I wasn't used to it. Didn't feel like I deserved it. I looked away, trying to mask the conflict within me. Husband or not, didn't expect me to be sentimental about it. Nodding, I don't, but it doesn't mean I can't appreciate the small things. I watched her with this woman I barely know yet, share a life with her. I had been cold this time, but she still found a way to be kind, and somehow her kindness chipped away at my voice piece by piece. She gave me a gentle smile before leaving my room, leaving me in a set of silence, crippling emotion I had long buried. Thanks for an early morning. I woke up before the rest of the house as usual. The mansion was quiet, the kind of silence I had always preferred. But today it felt heavier than usual. My thought drifted to one, the way she had looked at me with the softest smile. Before leaving my room last night, I lingered in my mind. Uncertain me, tried to shake it off. I got ready for the day. In the dining room for breakfast, by the time I reached the dining room, wine was already there, helping my mother at the table. She moved carefully, placing each plate and cup with the precision. I could tell she was still tired. Her face, but she didn't complain. She barely looked at me when I sat down. While make sure Taehyung's coffee is hot, he doesn't like it cold. I was stirred up, irritated at my mother's tone, but wine just nodded quietly, bringing a fresh cup of coffee and setting it before me. Without a word, her finger pressed against the cup, trembling slightly, and for a moment I felt an impulse to reach out, steady her hand. But I clenched my jaw, holding back. Thank you, calling. You are welcome, softly. She returned to her seat, her eyes fixed on a plate. My mother eyed us, clearly unsatisfied. Why are you feeling unwell? You look like you are barely slept. I'm fine, Mom, just a little tired. I saw the exhaustion in her eyes, even though she tried to hide it. She has been doing everything to adjust to this house, only as she seemed worn out each day. Part of me wanted to tell my mom to stop pressuring her, but I know better than to challenge in front of everyone. Well, make sure you are up for the dinner tonight. We have guests coming over. One nodded again and felt the weight of the silence pressing down on us. She wasn't just tired, she looked defeated, and that familiarity returned, tugging at me. Later that morning, Taehyung's study room. A few hours later, I was in my study room trying to concentrate on work, but one pale face kept interrupting my thoughts. I barely knew she heard, and I didn't want to get involved in her life more than necessary. When stopping fetching a small notebook, she looked hesitant, as if debating whether she should even be here. I wanted to give you this. It's a grocery list. You need groceries, raising an eyebrow. Yes, for tonight's dinner. Since you will be on the way home, I thought it might be easier for you to pick up them. I took the notebook from her, glancing at the list. For some reason, the idea of doing something as mundane as grocery shopping irritated me, but I could tell from her expression she had already debated in this herself. Why not just ask the staff to get this? Your mother asked me to handle it. She said it would be more appropriate. More appropriate? The way my mom monitored everything went, it was starting to bother me. Still, I didn't let it show. Fine, I will bring it. Gladly. Thank you, Taehyung, giving a relieved smile. I nodded, watching her leave. The way she said my name felt different, somehow softer, more sincere. Grocery store, late afternoon. As the store, I pulled out the list and stared at it, feeling strangely out of element. Most of the items were simple things, but each them made me wonder about one the small details, the things I should like to cook. I couldn't believe I was just even noticing these stuffs. Texted, if it's too much trouble, you don't have to get everything on the list. I can manage. I found typing quick response. I'm almost done, don't worry about it. There was a pause before her next message. Thank you again. Her gratitude so genuine and simple caught me off guard. I was used to people expecting things from me without a second thought, yet she was. Back at the mansion, I was carried back to the kitchen. Wine was already there, preparing ingredient. She looked surprised as I entered, watching her as I sat back down on the counter. Here I got everything, avoiding eye contact with her. Thank you didn't have to do all this. Smiling slightly, I told you I would just don't make a habit of it. Her smile fluttered a bit, but she nodded and packing the bags with quick focus. I leaned against the counter, watching her for a moment before I caught myself. You don't have to stay here, you know I will manage from here. Something about her words. Her assumption that I wouldn't want to be around made me pause. At first I didn't usually stick around, but right now leaving it felt wrong. I will stay. She glanced up, surprised, and I quickly looked away, pretending to check my phone. For the next few minutes, she walked in silence, but it wasn't the uncomfortable silence we usually shared. She would hand me ingredient. By the time dinner was served, the guests had arrived, family, friends, people I've known for years but hardly interacted with. I sat at the end of the table, noticing how wine quietly served each guest, avoiding their curiosity. My mother sat across from me, her eyes sharp as watched every move of wine made. Guest one, so the house Mary left everything you. I danced slightly, glancing at wine as she refilled her glass. It's fine, I got one since Milka briefly toward me, but she quickly looked away, pretending not to hear. Another guest spoke up, smiling at wine. Well, you must be lucky to have married there. Yes, I am. Her words were simple yet distinct. She said like she was convincing herself more than anyone else. My mother shot her a warming glance and one expression shifted to one of quiet compliance. Her hand clutched tightly in her lap. I felt unexpected urge to stand up for her. After dinner, I retreated to my room, exhausted and frustrated. I couldn't shake the image of one trying so hard to please everyone, constantly walking on eggshells around my family. She didn't deserve this, not from them or from me. There was a knock on my door, and she entered looking hesitant as always. I just wanted to. I looked at her, the word kept changing in my thought. I wanted to say something, anything, but all that came out was a cut nod. Good night. She gave a small, sad smile before closing the door behind her. As the silence settled over the room, I felt an emptiness that had been thought before. This woman, my wife, deserved more than this cold, indifferent dress, and maybe I was ready to start. Next day, I was heading to my room when I overheard Mrs. Kim speaking to some of the household staff. They were murmuring quietly, but her tone grew sharper as she noticed me passing by. Before I could step away, she called me over to look worried and when what exactly were you thinking by stepping outside dressed like that yesterday? You were represent this family and expected you to maintain a dignified image. She said coldly with a strained expression. I felt my stomach twist, unsure what she was talking about. I'm not sure, I don't understand, Mom. I wore a simple dress. I only went out to the garden. Voice raising. A simple dress. Do you have any idea what people said when they saw you outside? This family has a reputation and it's not up for you to tarnish with your carelessness. I was told that stern this was about family reputation. I felt a pang of heart. It seemed that no matter what I did, it was never enough in her eyes. But as her words grew harsher, my own was struggled to stay steady. Trying to defeat myself. I didn't mean to embarrass anyone, Mom. I have only been trying to help to support this family. Furious support this family by dressing like that, acting so bold in public. You are lucky people didn't see the whole thing. You should be grateful for opportunity to even be here. And yet you are acting like if you are. Before I could even respond, her hand came down swiftly, slapping me across the cheek. The room grew silent, my cheeks stung, but more than that, the hurt went deeper, cutting into my pride as I blinked, wiped tears, and welted of shame and anger. Across the room, Taehyung stood beside his father, watching the entire exchange. But he didn't say a word. I tried to keep my expression steady, swallowing the pain, but since then, both even though the day played in my mind, calling out me, my mother caught a slap, and the way Vanna tried to defeat it herself. I stood just her paralyzed, watching it all unfold. Now lying in bed, the guilt rained heavy on me. I couldn't let this go on. She was my wife, she deserved to feel safe and respected here. Without thinking, I got off the bed and walked down to the hall of the room. Softly, Vanna, are you awake? After a moment, I heard a faint rustle. I opened the door slowly, finding her lying on the bed, her face turned toward the wall. When she glanced back, she saw me, her eyes filled with tears, and she clearly pain. Holding back, barely a whisper. Why did you come here now, Taehyung? You didn't do anything earlier, you just watched. Her word hit harder than expected. I didn't realize how much my silence would hurt her, how much she had hoped I would defend her. The shame ground at me, and before I knew it, I moved closer, wrapping my arms around her, pulling her into a hug. She resisted for a moment, but eventually she let her guard down. Softly, I'm sorry, One. I should have spoken up. I was wrong. You deserve better than this. Whispering, then why do I feel so alone here? Why do you let her treat me like this? I didn't know, but I promise you it won't happen again. You don't have to put up this. You are stronger than you know. Don't let anyone make you feel less than you are. She looked up at me, her expression a mixture of pain and determination. I could see her resolve beginning to state, and I knew that I couldn't let her fight this alone anymore. We stayed that way for a while, and soon her breathing slowed. As she drifted off to sleep, I lay beside her, feeling a new sense of peace. Next morning, as I entered the dining room, Mrs. Kim was already there, seated with Mr. Kim. I took a deep breath. The young words from last night giving me courage. Today I wouldn't let her intimidate me. Attempting a forced smile, one about yesterday, I apologized. If I come across to her sometime, I only wish for you to hold this family image. I could see her struggling to hold back her pride, yet the words sounded empty, but I wasn't the same as yesterday. I held my high and upright firmly. Calmly, thank you, Mom. I will forgive you this time, but let's be clear. I won't tolerate such treatment again. I deserve respect like everyone else in this household. The room was silent. She looked at me, clearly shocked. As I entered the living room, I saw one standing tall, and I couldn't help but feel proud. She had done exactly what I know she should, addressing everyone. I decided it was time for an announcement. Everyone, there is something else I want to say. All eyes turned to me, including my mother's. Continuing, when I have decided to move into our own home, we need our own space to grow together without the pressure of household. Tell me over us. Stern Taehyung, are you sure? Yes, one is a peace and I won't stand by and let everyone welcome in our own home. This is our decision and it's final. And I can't stand what mom did to her yesterday. My mother looked stunned and she managed a forced smile. Well, I already apologized to her, and if this is truly what you both want, then we support you. I glanced at one who looked at me with a mixture of surprise and relief. I know this decision might be different, but it was one I couldn't back down from. I had finally chosen her. Tempo. As soon as we stepped into the penthouse, I watched eyes go wide. The look on her face is priceless, surprised, desperate, maybe even now. You like it? I asked, smiling softly, though I'm a bit nervous. I got this place for us. It's our one. You can do anything you want. No one will ever hold you back. This is your own. Too. You are the queen here. She glances around, still in shock, and asks me how much she went through back at my parents' house. They never treated her the way she deserved, and I'm ashamed that I didn't step up sooner. I have been cool and distant, but that ends now, and she deserves so much. I clear my throat, still hesitant. So where is my room? My voice is barely above whisper. It's awkward to ask, but that's what I'm used to. We have always stayed separate, and it feels strange to assume anything different. I can't help but chuckle a little, but I answer warmly. I was hoping you were comfortable with it, that you would stay with me. I paused, choosing my words carefully. Last night when we slept in the same bed for the first time, I felt this calm. It was like all my worries just faded away. I stepped closer to her, looking right into her eyes. I want us to be together when. Before I can second guess myself, I gently put her into a hug. Holding her feels right. It's like I've been waiting for this for a long time, but was just too stubborn to admit it. I love you, One. Let me show you that from now on.